How's it going, everybody? It's GTB. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for the subscribers. Thank you for clicking that subscribe button, and thank you for the thumbs up. I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and dive into Ethereum. We'll start on the monthly candles, then zoom into the weekly, daily, and so on, just to get a better picture. But we'll start off with the big picture. So, monthly candles for Ethereum. What we've been seeing lately, of course, is this wicking off the 20 EMAs right here, following the fibs from the 2018 bull run. It's nearing the top. We saw it on Bitcoin as well. You might recall if you check that video out that the fib was almost at the complete 4236 extension, keeping in mind that the total market cap chart did indeed cross the 4236 extension. So there might be a little bit of room, especially here for Ethereum and the other coins, to finally get up to this point. But we shall see where this goes. Anyway, on the monthly, still looking strong. It's held the support. Let's go ahead and just draw it in right here. It's held this support right here. It hasn't, this candle right here for April hasn't come down to test the 20 EMA. So that's a positive in my book. We did see this low down here. We have this low here. So we have this overall sort of positive movement. This high back in the start of 21, and then this right here towards, was it the start of 22, end of 21. So we have overall this positive price movement. Let's zoom into the weekly. We'll go ahead and move on swiftly. Okay, the weekly EMAs, this is where it gets a little more interesting. So we saw in the monthly that the 20 EMA was not really tested for Ethereum. It's a bit overextended, right? So right now we have the candles playing around in the 2 fibs. It kind of bounced around, hit the 2.5, faked everybody out, and then came back down to the 2, and back in the beginning of the year 2022, we were playing around here in the top of the 1 fibs, right down here. And I think the fear is that it'll come back down, just like Bitcoin. We're looking at a sort of pattern that was worrying me. So if you're just joining for this Ethereum chart, this TA for Ethereum, I had pointed out that this pattern here, when it goes down and it kind of coils up in an upper right hand movement, it's usually followed by another wave down. And that kind of worries me a little bit. You'll see the difference between this one. It comes down and it sort of coils down to the right and then springs back up. When you zoom into like an hourly or a 4-hour chart where it happens quite often, you'll see this step ladder on the way down sort of pattern. And I could be wrong. I'm still learning. Hopefully you are learning too. But it does this sort of thing for a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to come all the way down here. All I'm saying is that pattern exists, right? So if we're saying that this is the step ladder, first step, I fear that it could come back down to the 1 fibs that it was playing around in January and February of 2022. After that, the next support would be way down here from mid 2021, right? And come back down to the middle of the 1 fibs as opposed to the top of the 1 fibs. Okay, so that's a point of concern for me, because we're seeing these candles here between the 20 and the 55. It's struggling. I mean, this week here, last week's candle barely closed. It didn't even close. It closed in the middle of the 2 EMAs. You see, we got that nice little pump up to the 2.5 these 3 weeks in a row, and then boom, back down, right? So let's so optimistically, we find this resistance at the 55, and we start hopefully passing this point and going up into the 3s, which would take us back to the all-time highs. If not, I could see us coming back here, to the 2,500 mark or so, and kind of play around in these fibs. So if I were to draw out a bearish scenario, comes down, coils up, right? I'm not doing it exact. I'm just using it for illustration purposes. Comes back down here and then does this. Now, hopefully here, the bullish sort of opinion would be, okay, it comes back up, right? To retest this. The bearish would be that it continues down. That would really, that would really not be good. I have no other way of saying it. For the price action, that would be pretty terrible. You know what I mean? So let's go back. So this is the big question mark. Where is it going from here? I think I would rather it continue to stay in this horizontal price action. I would rather stay here than to go down, right? If it stays here, at least there's a really strong level of support. Let's go back. We'll have found 3 levels of support, if you will. One down here, this being the first level, right here. Actually, let me just draw it in. Screenshots are easier. One level of support here, one level of support here. If we can find another support here, then we continue on the positive. So I know a lot of people say, you know, it's all about support and resistance, and I tend to agree. Here's resistance, here's resistance. Hopefully we find another resistance up here in this long channel, right? The volume has been okay, not great. I don't know how else to put it. You can see just the amount of volume that came in here, and it's been sort of withering down so far, so not a lot of support, which could indicate, which actually it can indicate 2 things. It's not a cop-out. It's just a realization that low volume could mean that, yes, somebody could swoop in and change the price by dumping in a bunch of money. And at the same point, if nobody comes in and it keeps waning, then the price goes down, right? So either swoops in or keeps going down. So this video really is just a horizontal what could happen next kind of video. And that's where we've kind of been the past few weeks. I know today's tax day in the United States, which, you know, some people say is bullish, some people say is bearish. Who knows, right? Let's zoom in on the daily. Oh, there it is. Here, let me show you this pattern that I was pointing out before. It is right here. You see this? So imagine that this is the top of the all-time of the Ethereum market, all-time high. What I had pointed out on the weekly was this. It comes down. Oh, let me make it smaller. It comes down and it springs up to the right and then down. Springs up to the right and it's going down. You see that? That is the exact same pattern that I was trying to point out on the weekly. So that is just a smaller version of this right here. And that scares me a little bit. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. You know, do what you want to do. I'm just letting you know that in terms of what I see, I'm just reporting what I'm seeing. Let's see. Look at this. Look at this wick here. Let me take this off. Go away. There you go. Look at this wick down to the 1.5. Look how beautiful that was. If you happen to catch that purchase, good job. That's all I'll say. But here we went back up to the 1.618, 1.712, and now we're in the 2s, and hopefully, this starts going back up. That's the hope there. But on the daily, it's a little more bullish than it was on Bitcoin. On Bitcoin, it finally passed, or was it Bitcoin or the total market cap? It was one of the two, where the 20 finally officially crossed back under the 55. So in the case of Ethereum is still bullish and could fake out to the upside. Really what we got to keep an eye on is the volume. Like I said, if somebody swoops in and dumps in a bunch of cash, the price could go up because the volume has been so low. On the opposite end of the spectrum, if nobody comes in and nobody starts up buying, then there's a case to be made for it to continue down, right? Let's look at the 4-hour chart just to zoom in on the super short term, see where it might be going. We got a death cross back in April 7th, so a few days back, and it still hasn't really, it's been bumping on the 20. It almost hit the 55, crossed over the 55, closed above a little bit on the 20. So it's hanging on to the 20. It's not getting super overextended. It's kind of doing what it did back here, right? Kind of just hugging the 20 EMA until it finally broke down here. So hopefully it'll hug for a while and then break back up. That's the hope. Cool. So yeah, that's the zoom in. Just a heads up, I disabled the comments because there was just a lot of spam bots. And if you want to go ahead and chat with me, find me on Twitter at GTBCryptoYT and on Reddit as well. But I'll post this. I appreciate you coming through, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.